So I'm about to butcher this word, but familial hypertriglyceridemia. I know for a fact that that's not how you say it, but I don't speak Latin and I'm not a doctor. But that is something that I heard from my doctor. Familial hypertriglyceridemia. And what that means is my triglyceride levels are genetically predisposed to be extremely high. And what that means is my blood is like molasses, is the way he put it, like syrup. And therefore my blood pressure, through no other reason, is higher than it's ever been, because my heart is working a lot harder than it has to pump the blood, because my blood is too thick. And what this does is, even if I eat right, exercise, and all of the things that go along with that, I am at a greater risk than many or most for heart attack, stroke, things like that. And it's also a contributing factor of why I feel so run down, because my heart is working harder than it has to, so it wears me out. And it didn't really sink in at first when he first told me that. I'm just thinking, okay, he's gonna prescribe some medicine and, we'll take care of it and we'll go on about our business. But the more I thought about it and the more I looked into it, it's not a really good deal. I mean, it's put a lot of things into perspective. I just don't know. You just don't know. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone. And so I've had to really reevaluate the way I look at a lot of stuff that used to, upset me. I've basically had to kind of let go, with the idea that if I don't let it go and I let it eat me up and I stress about it, and, I put that much more pressure on myself when I don't need that. And it's really sobering, there's always that, regardless of your medical situation or anything else that's going on in your life, anything can happen once you leave the house. Anything can happen in the house. But, I've caught myself over the last, week or so, if my chest starts to hurt, I kind of get worried a little bit. If I feel like I got shortness of breath or something like that, I get worried or something. It's almost like I'm being hypersensitive to the signs or the symptoms, or or even if I'm kind of exaggerating what I think might be a sign or a symptom. And just that being said, I do carry with me a little bottle of Bear aspirin, so if something does happen, I can, that was at my wife's she recommended that I go ahead and carry that. I mean, I've had one anyway, but she recommended that I go ahead and carry that. But it's not something fun that I really I'm really enjoying. But I've never been one big on sweets to begin with, but I have to really cut back on, not really, it's not so much of like really cut back, but I have to be very cognizant about what I'm eating, the sugar levels, and because on top of everything, it could get me to a point where I could develop diabetes or something like that if my sugar levels just get out of control on top of my triglycerides. But it's just, it's hard, because, I want to be healthy, and, I always thought I was fairly healthy until I got health insurance and started going to a doctor, and next thing you know, I'm not very healthy. And maybe that's part of it. People lived a long time without doctors, but I've really thought about the fact that, regardless of what else is going on in my world, I'm a few minutes from home, and I have a wife who loves me, 2 kids that love me, and that's really all that matters to me right now. And that's what I'm focusing on. And when I focus on that, then it doesn't get so hard to not drink that soda or eat that candy or, things like that. And, now that the weather is turning from winter to spring, me and my wife and kids can get outside more. I can exercise more. Even just we used to take long walks in the fall and just walk and walk and walk. And, that's something that I'd like to do just to stay active, to help get my triglyceride levels down. And on top of the medicine that he gave me, it's just, when I've talked about it, I kind of joke about it a little bit, but it's not really funny. It's anytime you're faced with anything, and I in no way am trying to compare, having high triglyceride levels to some of the horrible things that people have to deal with medically speaking. But anything that comes into your life where you have to even think about your mortality, it's hard. And I had to choose. I could just accept, quote unquote, accept my fate and just go on the way things were going, or I can do something about it. And we had already started doing something about it. We had basically cut out, I wouldn't say we became vegetarians, but we've all but cut out most meat from our diets, and to try to eat a lot more vegetables, and fruits and things like that. And that's obviously going to help. We were already going to do that anyway, because we just wanted, for ourselves, even before this, we wanted to feel good for ourselves. And now it's just, because we're already doing it, there's not really going to be a big change in that regard. But it's just I make sure that my wife knows that I love her. I make sure that my kids know that I love them, because when I leave the house in the morning, I don't know what the day holds for me, and I just want them to be sure that if something does happen to me, that they know that. And I know they do. I know they love me. My wife always tells me. My kid, my son, he always tells me. My daughter, she shows me. She hasn't quite perfected the art of telling, but she shows me. And as long as I focus on those things, all I can do is, pray and use the tools and the information at my disposal to, get as healthy as I can, so that I can be around for a long time for my kids and my wife. And it's just very important to me, that, because there will come a time where, not to sound morbid, but God willing, my kids bury me and I don't have to bury them. But I just hope when that does happen, that it's when I'm considerably older,